What is going on, guys? This is another edition of Bogey Free. I'm saying another because we just tried to do this once and it didn't work. So hopefully now it's working. We are coming at you tonight with a little bit of a different show. We are not doing our usual look at one event and break everything down. We are going to be talking about the 2019 season that's coming up in the next few weeks. And I am lucky enough to be joined by my former usual co-host, PFS Jimmie. What's going on, man?
What's up, dude? Yeah, former as in life has kind of gotten in the way a little bit recently, and relocated across the country and settling into a new place, and kind of had to focus on real life for a bit and take a break from the fantasy world, unfortunately. But it's nice to kind of get back into some golf. Looking forward to talking the 2019 season and just sort of throwing some stuff out there. And we're joined tonight by a guy that has always been in the industry with us. He's a great dude. You see him on Twitter all the time, but he doesn't make his rounds on the Bogey Free podcast too often. But we're joined by Wedge tonight at Wedge2424 on the Twitter machine. What's up, dude?
Not much. Thanks, guys. Let's try this again. I'm here. I'm ready for some hot takes. Like I said previously, no matter what happens today, I can only be right because at the end of this year, no one will remember this unless I make them remember it. So I'm very excited to talk about this. This is kind of it's a nice way to kind of ease back into the golf season, which I don't really consider starting until probably a little bit after the New Year's, but this will be fun. This is fun. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I feel bad if you think that people actually listen to the show. That's probably your first mistake. Like nobody's listening, so it doesn't really matter.
But, we have a massive audience, and marketers are literally beating down the doors.
No, but like we can get all these on record, and we can pimp the shit out of these. Like if any of them come true, like we're gonna be rolling in it by the end of the year.
We'll just cut every little positive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just throwing money on whoever you guys pick for all the majors, like as we speak on my bookie. So
wow, I'm trying to think of worse strategies, and I can't come up with one.
I got all that free Tyreek Hill touchdown money from an hour and a half ago, so I'm rolling in it.
I love it.
Why don't we hit our what are we all drinking tonight? What do you got there, Wedge? I just saw you take a swig of something.
I'm drinking some Warka. It's a solid I believe it is a Polish beer given to me by one of my new industry co-workers. Nice. Some good stuff. It's a little bit darker. It's a dark Pilsner. I'm more of a Pilsner versus an IPA. That's a little too much of my grab my cheek stuff for the IPA, but not too much into that. How about you, Matt? What you got over there? I saw it go up a couple times.
Yeah, I'm just I'm working through the end of the pumpkin beers before Thanksgiving. So I got Greenport. It's a little, not little anymore, but a nice brewery out here on Long Island. Their pumpkin beer. So nice. Trying to get through it all so I could get into the darker stuff in a few weeks. What's your story, James?
I know I mentioned that I relocated to Colorado Springs, and things have not gone as planned, and as a result, I couldn't justify the expense of beer and the immediacy of the moment. Instead, I brewed this very lovely mint medley tea.
There you go.
It's very, very much non-alcoholic, unfortunately.
That counts, though. It's your drink of the night.
Drinking.
It is the drink of the night.
We didn't say alcoholic drink of the night.
Bingo.
But my two roommates, they're pretty big into the teas now, and they got this one, and it's actually very nice. I'm not much of a tea drinker. I'm more coffee. I need the caffeine, but this tea's, hey, listen, it's better than water at the moment. So we're gonna use this mint medley to kick off our 2019 season as I take a sip.
Love it. All right, while he takes that first beautiful swig of properly tempered tea, why don't we talk some rookies first? I know we have a bunch of guys who are coming up off the web.com tour who obviously have flashed a little bit already. We already have sort of a guy who won I don't know if you guys are going to pick him for Rookie of the Year, which is kind of cheating, just saying. But Wedge, where are you looking for Rookie of the Year candidate?
From the little bit I've seen, obviously Champ won this year already. I know Sung Jae-im had quite the first rookie start there. I like, but I believe what's his name? Sam Burns qualifies as a rookie this year, correct? He showed some chops last year in a couple events with some tougher courses. So, these courses early in the season, they're score fests. I don't think it really equates to much long term as far as quality of player on the PGA Tour level. So I like myself a little Sam Burns. I know he showed a little bit last year. If we're considering him a rookie at this point, that's the question that I'm not 100% sure.
I think he is not in the official rookie list, even though it is his first year, like full year on tour. But that said, I mean, like it is his first season. So I don't think that's like a bad thing. I don't think he's like not a rookie, but I think if I'm looking at the Rob Bolton list, and he is not on there.
Yeah, that's funny.
For whatever reason. I'm sure there's like an asterisk as to like why he's not a rookie, because like Joaquin Neiman is not a rookie. There's a couple of guys that I thought would be rookies that aren't. Yeah. Okay. But either way, I think he's a fine player to have sort of like a breakout year in his first season.
Yeah, looking back in Burns's like official world golf rankings, he had a like stretch of starts on the tour in 2017, just like 3 or 4 starts. So he might just like be slightly over the limit there, but he's definitely a guy that we should be looking out for this year, because like you said, he did have a pretty good result already in his young season. So that works. What about you, James?
I guess I got a couple of guys that I'll have my eye on. I think it's early in this, we have, just like we talked about, we've had these Scorefest events. Cameron Champ obviously, has sort of taken the rookie class by storm early on with his win and solid finishes, 5 starts, 5 cuts made, 3 top 10s. It's really impressive. I guess I'll sort of go with a couple of other guys that are dark horses. And I think the guy sort of at the top of that list that literally no one's going to be talking about that from this rookie class has the ability to probably catch Cameron Champ is Chase Wright, currently ranked 44th in FedEx. He's finished 7th as his best finish, 5 starts, 3 cuts made, and 2 top 10s. So when he's making the cut, he's making a run at the leaderboard. That's encouraging to see, I guess, for a guy to kind of come on and have that level of confidence and that ability. Cameron Davis is the other guy that I think is probably the unheralded rookie that on the PGA Tour, he's not like a big name, but I mean, he's been all over, the leaderboards and taking down events through Australia before kind of making his way over here. So that's the guy I think I probably have the most confidence in to challenge Cameron Champ at the top if I'm picking somebody else. 4 starts, 3 cuts made, and he was the Australian Amateur of the Year and just all kinds of awards there in Australia. So I feel like he's probably the guy that I'll stake my money on. If I am forced to just pick one, I'm going to say Cameron Davis.
Nice. I like it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Sung Jae-im is probably the guy who, even with sort of spotting Champ a win, I think he could pretty easily get a couple of wins this year. Like he just obviously knows how to win. Like he was leading the web.com money list literally from event 1 last year and never lost the lead. So he put himself a pretty solid season together last year. So definitely other guys to think about. Kramer Hickok's a guy that comes to mind too. I know Jose De Jesus Rodriguez also just played pretty well recently here too. So
what a phenomenal pronunciation, by the way. That flowed really well.
They don't pay me the big bucks for nothing, James.
That's I was impressed. That was just eloquent.
He's the second oldest rookie at age 37.
Holy shit, he's older than me and he's a rookie?
Chris Thompson is 42 and he's a rookie.
Oh, that's the dream.
I'm going to give a shout out to I just, listen, I want to give a shout out to guys like that are making it happen, like knowing full well that they're competing with like a lot of really young, talented players that they're not giving up. You know what I mean? And golf is like the only sport you can do that. There's no 37-year-old journeyman quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying?
Brandon Whedon was drafted around that age, so
fair enough. But I mean, like, that's really impressive to have, sort of just the fortitude to just continue to push forward and to finally make it on tour. So that's big shout out to those guys. I like stories like that. Those guys are living a lifelong dream. So awesome for them.
I knew he sort of like looked older when I saw him, but I didn't realize he was that old. That's pretty nuts. All right, let's
before we move on, can I do so? I want quick thoughts on Adam Svensson. He was sort of highly touted by some of the sharper guys in the industry last year when he made some starts, and he kind of disappointed big time. I don't know if that changes or not, but there's some really sharp people I heard talking about him last year. Do you guys have any insight or any thoughts at all?
Go ahead, Matt. Let me look him up.
No, I mean he's another guy who like has sort of won at a bunch of different levels, right? Like he has shown sort of a proclivity to winning events on different levels. So you always like guys like that. I'm just looking now. Yeah, I mean he was Division II Player of the Year. He almost got in through the Web.com Tour Finals last year. And then finally got it this year. So yeah, I mean, why not, right? Like he seems to know what he's doing. Like I said, I don't know a ton about him, but definitely, obviously, a guy to keep an eye out on. Yeah. Why don't we go with our favorite winner this year outside of the top 100 right now? So sort of like a longer shot, a dark horse kind of. What are you thinking here, Jimmy?
Sungjae Im is at 100. So does he count, or do we have to go outside of him?
I don't know. That's cutting it a little close.
No,
but
no
I
worries.
have one that's even worse. So I might allow you to do it just so you don't give me shit in a minute.
Well, I actually just said my guy Cameron Davis in Rookie of the Year. He's currently ranked 113th. I'm pretty high on this kid, just in general. Like I said, you don't get the kind of accolades that he got, kind of coming up through the ranks and not kind of produce. I don't think so. I'd be fine saying Cameron Davis. There's several guys right outside the top 100 that I think have some really good opportunity this year. Another one that comes to mind is Jordan L. Smith. Really showed some great chops on the European Tour last year. He's going to have some events that he plays on the PGA Tour this year. I feel like whether or not he can maybe win, certainly open some eyes. I think really talented kid. I don't know. There's some other guys that I have that I do think are going to get a win. There's a guy at 145th right now that I actually wrote up last week that I think might actually get a win this year and maybe not break everybody's heart. But I'll save a couple of them and kind of let you guys go through as well. So Wedge, what are you thinking? Who are your guys right around 100 or like way outside of 100? Are you dipping all the way down to 357 or whoever you were talking about earlier?
I was getting down there pretty deep, but I'm going to stay on brand here and take my constant first round leader bet and say I think Scott Piercy at some point might get one done this year. I mean, he's inconsistent as can possibly be, but he definitely has the chops on it. You see him play on some of the U.S. Opens. He can play tough courses. I don't know what his deal is. Why? If it's injuries, if it's his body giving out on him at times, or what it is. But
he dealt with some injury. He dealt with quite a bit of injury last year.
Yeah, and he, I think that guy. It's kind of a homer pick in a sense, but I think Scott Piercy could get one done. I've got a couple other really long shot ones here, but what you got, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty interesting. Like Joaquin Niemann is 151st right now, which I would just think like that he would be way closer to the top 100, but
he picked up 1,335 spots last season.
Yeah, which is like a pretty good for one season.
Is that all?
Yeah, like he's a guy who jumps off the page. Like if you're betting at all, he's a guy who has like pretty short odds considering what his world golf ranking is. So he's a guy that I would say is a pretty safe bet to win on tour this year. Outside of that, I don't know, like all these guys that we're talking about, like the younger guys obviously have shots to win. I think like a Bronson Burgoon, I like quite a bit. I could see him putting 4 rounds together and winning somewhere. Not necessarily like a premier event, but you know, one of the sort of like middle strength of fields and picks up a W. I think he could make some sense. And honestly, I feel like Sam Saunders could have a pretty good year. It seems like I guess it was 2 years ago, was just like basically just a laughing stock, like just the grandkid, right? And now he sort of is putting together some events here and there, and I think he can. Again, it's just all these guys, if they put together 4 rounds, like it's just 1 week, like it's not it's not the most difficult thing in the world for even a guy in like the 200 to 250 range. Like they're talented enough that they can take down a tournament if everything clicks right for them.
Yeah. I guess I'll toss out a couple other names that I feel like are going to contend at some point this year. Lovemark was the guy at 145 I was talking about. He always seems to have like 3 to 4 events a year where he just finds himself right in the mix on a Sunday and just can't get it done. I don't know if that continues or if he, kind of matures enough or whatever, but I feel like he could finally get his win. Joaquin Niemann, the guy I feel pretty confident about is going to get a win this year at some point is Harold Varner III at 156th. Last year it came out just recently. He had sort of a wild thing. He was playing really, really well, and then he broke or bent his shafts in his girlfriend's car, some crazy thing, and didn't realize that he only thought one was bent, and he was playing for like 2 or 3 weeks with like bent clubs, and then he had. And they were only slightly bent, but for these guys, it might as well have been broken in 2, And then he had to replace his whole set of shafts, and it just threw off his whole season. And then this year, he started out quite a bit stronger, it seems like, and was just in contention 2 weeks ago. So I feel like, barring some sort of crazy thing like that, I think Harold Varner's game has really developed, to a point where I think he can contend for wins. I think it'll have to be on a course with slow greens because his putter, I don't think has improved, to that point. But, we watched a guy like, what was it, 2 years ago? Like Tony Finau and Harold Varner were like the same guy. Yeah. Like they bombed it all the way. Their ball striking was coming around, but neither one of them could putt. I mean, if Finau couldn't putt on bent to save, or Bermuda to save his life. Yeah. And now, I mean, look at him. He's contending. He's your boy, Matt. And he's contending in like 3 out of 4 majors.
You're damn
last year. So I think that I can see sort of a, but what's funny though is fucking Finau hadn't won either.
Sure.
I guess it just goes to show like how consistent you can play at a high level and not get a win because it's just so hard to win on tour. But Harold Varner III is one. Boy, Ollie Schneiderjans fell off the world, didn't he? Something's got to be going on with that kid. I'm scrolling down through the list. Bill Haas lost 124 points or positions last year. Poor Bill Haas. A guy I want to keep my eye on this year that had like just an awful couple of seasons was sort of one of the SB 2K16 guys. Actually, it wasn't sort of, he was. Bud Colley, man. Really talented golfer, and just had some just really crappy things happen to him with the car accident and the injuries and just like the whole 9 yards last year was just like a forgotten season for him. And I know he's looking to put that behind him. But he's right out. He's just inside the top 200 and really, in college and at the collegiate level and just afterwards, he was competing with the Spieths and the Justin Thomases of the world and right there with them in those tournaments. So, obviously the talent level is there and he's just had some shitty luck, I think. So I look for Bud Colley to have like a big bounce back season for him now that he's healthy and striking the ball well. I don't know if a win's in the cards, but I know that he is anxious to get back to performing on par with his, sort of cronies. So interested to see what happens with Bud Colley this year for sure.
I thought you were going to go Smiley with the spring break reference, but I guess.
Oh my God, no. Is he even on the world golf rankings anymore?
He hurt his elbow.
I only downloaded the top
Jimmie?
200.
He hurt his elbow.
I'll check for you.
Because he fell down drinking too much Natty Light, or
Oh, he did you see he's on the what the hell commercial is that with Varner? Is it Grey Goose or Absolute, or he's on some liquor commercial now? It's like him, Varner, and a couple other guys, and I can't remember what it is now. But obviously, it left a lasting impression. Really good marketing. But I was just like, oh, that's Smiley, cool.
Yeah, no knock on Smiley. I hope the guy gets it together because obviously a talented. Like I don't know what happened to him, but it's in his head. Whatever it is, right? He's got like the full on swing yips or something. I don't know.
He lost like 400 spots last year. He's 619 right now.
Wow, hey, he's in the top 1,000.
Yes, it's a hell of a lot better than most of us or all of us.
Sam Burns is sitting at 121.
Is he really?
Yeah.
There you go. There's a nice winner. Yeah, no, this is shit, man. What a Ted Potter one. Like you look at some of these guys that are
DJ on Sunday. Not even
DJ on Sunday.
I mean, so like literally, we could say whoever we wanted to here, and it couldn't be that far off. I mean,
right?
Like what if Luke Donald wins on tour this year? I mean, would it?
Actually, I think the guy that I probably of all these people, there's probably two that I maybe have the most confidence in general, and they're right at in terms of the guys outside the top 100, and they're right at 101 and 108, and it's CT Pan and JJ Spawn. Both of those guys have been very close to winning before. Both of those guys have shown a lot of consistency in their games at times. JJ Spawn had a bit of a rough patch in the middle of last season, but he seems to have bounced back from that rather well early on in the swing season. And CT Pan just played really consistently. Sans professional caddy as well for large portions of last season and continuing into this season. So you talk about guys like right outside the top 100. Those are probably two of the most likely.
I like that. I like that. If you could just see Spawn healthy, when we, I had never heard of him back in the day when we were doing our stuff with the fantasy golf degenerates. Adrian was a big fan of JJ Spawn. and I just remember being and he knew so much stuff. I mean, I've never met someone that knew so much about the web.com, but he was big on JJ Spawn. JJ Spawn it hits greens, man. If you can hit greens consistently, you're going to do well on tour. It only takes a couple days of getting the hot putter if you can consistently hit greens at a high clip. And the most consistent players on tour, they hit greens every week, and then they let their putter get hot every once in a while, and that's how they win. So I like that JJ Spawn call. Obviously, he's going to have to get it done early in the year, I think, because I'm not sure once he leaves California what exactly is going to happen, or he leaves the West Coast. But I'd like to see him stick around this year. He consistently brings good value to the DFS world if he's healthy. I know last year I think it was his back or something like that. So
yeah, he had a back and a wrist issue.
That's not a good combo for if you're a professional golfer at all. So
for sure not. For sure not. So yeah, I guess we've talked about 99 of the golfers right outside the top 100. So
now we got our cut. For the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's reminds me of some other PGA DFS shows that will go unnamed.
You know what's interesting though? These are not people that I think can win, but you look at some of these, this is just how weird the world golf rankings are. Mean Wee Kim, which is Wee Kim.
Right.
I don't know why his name is that way on here and not everywhere else, because Mean Wee sounds way cooler than Wee Kim. But Shota Ayakoshi, Aiki Yoshi. I've never heard of this person.
Yes. Oh, it's interesting when I kind of scroll through this. I'm like, I've never heard of any of these people, and then it's just based on performances and on some of these other tours. I assume a win on, the Sunshine Tour probably carries more meaning than 12 top 50 finishes on the PGA Tour or something, because I look at some of these and go, I don't get this.
Yeah, Demi Papadatos.
I knew that was the next one. I was just looking at it.
That's an awesome name. Some of these names are just where's Evan when we need him to butcher a name real good? That guy's greatest talent is butchering golfers' names. I'm not kidding you, man.
And put him on the top 200. He could just read them off. It could be quite the thing.
Oh man.
So yeah, it is interesting to see some of these guys who could possibly never make like a PGA Tour start and are in like the top 150, right? You know, like it's just they just dominate on the Japanese tour or something like that, and just keep accumulating those points by doing it. So yeah, it's interesting. All right, let's why don't we hit either it's a choose your own adventure here. You could either go your biggest disappointment, so that could be like a bad thing, or your biggest surprise, which could go either way. So what are you thinking, Wedge? What's either your biggest surprise for next year or your biggest disappointment?
Well, I'm kind of torn between my two possible biggest disappointments right here.
Oh yes, here we go. I'm glad you went disappointment. This is like truth or dare for golf. I'm so glad you went the disappointment route. Let's get it.
So first is I'm going to go by a higher golf ranking here in disappointment, and I think Ricky Fowler is going to disappoint. I don't. After watching Ricky, he had the 1 year where he was in the top 5 of all. I think it was 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 4 majors. It seems to be that Ricky he lets a hole or two get to him in these majors. And by disappointment, Ricky Fowler he theoretically could still win a tournament this year, but I think not competing in any of the majors would be a disappointment for Ricky this year. So let me preface it by saying that much. But you see, it seems like last year, every time Ricky was around, all it took was a hole or two. He'd have like a 6 and a 9 or something like that, and his entire tournament was over. It happened it seemed like every event that he was in, that he'd have that hole and it would just fall apart for him. So I think that in the sense that Ricky wouldn't really compete in any majors this year, I think would be a disappointment. The most instant and biggest disappointment of them all, I think we started to see the beginning of the downfall of Phil last year. And after Tiger beats the living shit out of him.
Yeah, he's going to get smoked.
I mean, I think it's just going to deteriorate. You know, Phil will do Phil things occasionally and he'll hit a couple good shots and he might show up a little bit, but I think he starts to. I think we really start to see the downfall of Phil this year. He impressed early last year, and that kind of carried him for the rest of the year. But I hate to say it, but I think this is approaching towards the end of Phil's irrelevance on the PGA Tour this year. I think it starts to come to a close.
Yeah, I could not agree more with the Phil thing. It is a bit concerning to me that everybody believes Phil is going to get smoked by Tiger, and I wonder, and like, just you sort of like and everybody I talk to, literally everybody I talk to says the same thing. So I feel like that there is, I don't know, the universe, like maybe Phil gets in Tiger's head or something. I don't know, but like that's the only way I think he gets there. But I don't see a path to victory for Phil. I really don't. But that said, like it is interesting to me as we're now off topic as we're talking about the match, which, is whatever, but it is interesting to me that literally everybody I've spoken to with or without golf knowledge feels the exact same way about this situation, that Tiger Woods smokes Phil. And I agree, but it's just interesting.
The betting markets haven't really like reflected that sentiment though. Like it's still, I mean, it's not super close, but like Phil's plus 175. Like that's not that bad. Holy shit, no. He has no shot at all. So it is interesting. I think that I'm just looking at my bookie right now, but I would imagine it's probably a similar number across different books. And you're not even getting value. Like even if you believe that, like to bet on
you can't bet it.
Worth it. No.
Right.
No. The only way you could do it is if you like parlayed it into some Sunday football stuff.
Yeah.
Or whatever, in my opinion, to get like proper odds.
I think the best bet is just going like right now, like just Woods 1 up or 2-1 is like plus 650. Like that's I don't truly understand how you could possibly, like, how is it that he's minus 225, but to win 2-1 he's plus 650? That seems like a big difference to me. But I am not good with the numbers, so maybe that's not as big of a difference as I think, but I'm pretty sure it is. So it's interesting to see the lines. They have like every combination of like all the way to Woods winning 10 and 8, which would pay like 500 to 1. So
I don't know if he gets smoked that bad.
I might just throw a buck on it just for fun at that point.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's. I know that. I know the guy that I write for at Play Picks. He's actually in Vegas. He's out there at Shadow Creek. And I guess the whole city of Vegas is totally queued up for this event, and I actually couldn't care less about this event, to be honest. But yeah, I guess it's more of a local thing, or I don't have access to golf betting readily. Like I don't do the MyBookie thing so much, so maybe that's why I'm just not as queued up for it. But
I think the what's it called? Like the broadcast. They're talking about introducing some new things like stats wise and predictive, like analytic type stuff, which I think will be cool. Like for me, I don't know if most people give a shit. Like I know I'm going to find it interesting, but I think it could be like a cool next step to see what
they're going to bring to
broadcasting can turn into at some point.
Well, now that Johnny Miller's gone, it should be way better.
Well, and it's a hell of a lot easier to do it with two guys, right? Like you need to fill that space with something if there's only two guys on the course. So it makes sense that they would try it now and be like, all right, how are people responding to this? Like people love next gen stats and stuff like that now for the NFL. So like, why not throw a little bit of golf into that, that arena?
It only makes sense too, given like how much data that the golfers collect already, and like that we have access to in our world. You can only imagine like what they can do with like really smart people. If Bryson programs that computer, I mean, who knows what it could do?
Bryson doesn't program the computer. Bryson is the computer.
Oh, that's my bad. So I guess I'll get back on topic here a little bit, and I'll get to sort of my disappointment. I think Francesco Molinari comes back to earth this year. I don't. Well, I mean, listen. You're a sharp individual. So, no, I think that I think last year he had a really great year, et cetera, et cetera. Not trying to take anything away from him, but I do think that he sort of falls out of that top 6, top 10 world ranking. I don't see him competing in majors this year. His ball striking, I think, sticks around, but I don't think his putter stays as hot as it was to carry him through like it did last year. Big surprise, I think Xander Schauffele wins a major.
All right, well, don't jump ahead. We're getting there.
Damn, son.
You better tell us which one in a couple minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I thought we were like, I thought it was like the truth or dare. Like I give one, I can give the other. Like I didn't really know. So I got a couple more like surprises. Like I guess I don't have like disappointments so much. I do feel like that the number 1 spot is totally open in world ranking for the next like 3 to 4 years. And I don't see Justin Rose hanging on to it for like any length of time. Not to say he's not great. It's just like Brooks wins another major or something, and all of a sudden he's there. You know what I mean? It's just, there's just too many guys right there that I think it's not like the dominance of Tiger before. So I do think that the number 1 golf spot flips probably 2 or 3 times this year.
Yeah. Right now, Rose in world golf ranking. I mean,
you see how close that is?
Yeah. The points are like kind of like Monopoly money. Like nobody really knows what they're actually worth until like everything shakes out. But like it's what 12 like 10,000ths of you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's not if Brooks like sneezes the right way over the weekend, like he might overtake Rose. So
right,
the two of them are close enough. DJ and even Justin Thomas, with say he wins both in Hawaii, could probably jump to number 1 heading into February. So like the top 4 are probably just going to rotate through for the most part, like the entire year. Maybe if Bryson gets another win, he could throw his hat in there too. But definitely the top 4 will just keep changing hands as the year goes on for sure. But I agree with you. I think Molinari is. I mean, like, how pure did he have to run for what he did over the summer? Like, realistically, like that's not necessarily a sustainable level of play for just about anybody not named Tiger in like the 2000s. So I think it's safe to say that he's going to come back to earth a little bit. All right, let's hit some majors here. Let's go through. We'll go in order. So we'll start with the Masters in April. What are you thinking, Wedge? Who you got? And keep in mind, I'm betting all of these. So
okay, well then definitely don't want to tell you.
I'm parlaying your picks. I'm parlaying Jimmie's picks, and I'm parlaying my picks. So.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
What could go wrong?
Don't parlay any.
This is the opposite of the Tyreek Hill bet earlier.
Yes,
yeah, exactly. I'm giving it all back right now.
This is plus 260,000. No, for the Masters, I am going to. This guy celebrated his hole-in-one last year by running down the fairway and damn near put up a fight and played well there. To hold in, I really like. I like myself a little Tony Finau for the Masters this year. He doing what he did last year was goddamn impressive.
Yeah.
Kind of just dealing with it all and still being there throughout it. I like his. I've been really impressed with him. When he first came on a tour, it was just bomb, gouge, and then try to putt close. He's worked on a lot of part of his game. He's got the athletic ability of a basketball player, like his bum ass cousin on the Bulls, Jabari Parker. Who I'm pretty sure Tony Finau hustled faster down the fairway on that hole-in-one there than I've ever seen Jabari Parker move with the Bulls. But I'm a big fan of Finau at the Masters this year. How about you guys?
Yeah, that was my pick. He's 33 to 1. I already had that bet in, so I don't need to throw any money on that.
I like it.
It's not Brooks. I don't think that's the major for Brooks. I don't think that maybe it's ever the major for Brooks. I really don't know why he hasn't shown like that's his thing there. But I'm actually kind of torn between Ricky Fowler or Justin Rose.
Ooh.
I feel like if Ricky gets one, it's going to be that one. Again, I'm not like a Ricky fanboy, but I guess I also don't believe that he is I don't know. He just always disappoints though.
It's that
he
one
really
hole,
does,
man.
but I
always has that one hole.
You're right. I feel like if he gets a major, it's going to be that one. But
it's one of those things where he could gain some momentum in Florida. Like you could see this story.
Exactly.
Plays well in Florida, goes to Augusta and win. Like that makes sense.
So I don't know. I feel like I do feel like Ricky has a major in him. I still feel that way. Like he is an exceptional golfer. He's been remarkably consistent throughout his career. I think why I believe that he can win a major and it'll probably be Augusta is that he's got some of the best scrambling and some of the most clutch par saves ever.
Yeah.
And I think that that plays well there at Augusta for him. And he's like, of all the majors, he's played pretty well at that one comparative to the rest. So, but like I said, I'm torn between Rose or Ricky. But it's one of those two. I think Rose has been running hot. I think he's got a little bit of revenge on his mind from when Sergio kind of just snuck it away right at the last second from him. And it means a lot to Rose. And Rose, like every year, Rose sets a goal for himself, and he always seems to hit his goal. And I have a sneaking suspicion that the Masters is his goal this year. So those are my two picks. I can't quite settle on one yet, but those are the two guys I'm focused on for Augusta.
Well, those are both like shit odds. Like you can't bet on Ricky ever because he's fucking 16 to 1 for no goddamn reason. Yeah.
Listen, I am not. I have already advised. I'm gonna re-advise that you should not bet.
No. I'm just saying, like Ricky is like thoroughly unbettable. Like
he really is.
His price is always like half of what it should be, like most of the time.
He's like the Cubs.
He's plus 1,600 and Brooks is plus 1,400. Like Brooks and Fowler should not be in the same stratosphere at a major right now. maybe things could change in the next month or two, but the way that I don't know, I don't see them being that close to each other.
What you got on?
You get the name recognition bump, you know.
So who's your pick?
Finau.
Okay, so
I don't need to pick anything. He's winning all four. Like, it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
No, it's so funny because I started doing the golf. I started doing the golf stuff for RotoViz, and I realized like the first couple of articles that I wrote, I was like throwing in Finau cover pictures, and I was like, shit. I was like, Blair, the editor, is gonna be super pissed that I keep like, because they're all gonna look the same. They're gonna look like the same fucking article every week.
Yeah, because there's not enough cover shots of Finau. You're gonna have to like send off for some custom headshots from him and his, from his team or something.
I'm trying.
Maybe you should use the one with him with the hula dancing thing. You should use the one with him with the hula dancing, the fire thing, and the you know what I mean?
Yeah,
from his foundation.
When he wins the when he's on the cover for the Sony Open, I'll have him in there for that.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, let's come over to my neck of the woods. I will be there as many days as possible. PGA Championship right down the road here at Bethpage Black. Jimmie, I'll go back to you. Who are you liking for the coming back to Bethpage Black here?
It's because it's the PGA, it's hard not to like Day, who just always seems to play well at the PGA. It seems to be his thing. But I actually am going to go out on a limb and say Patrick Cantlay.
I like it. I'm looking for his odds now. Oh, let's go. He's plus 5,000. Let's go.
Yeah,
going right. That's a parlay with Finau right there.
So I think that course and the type of setup for a PGA sort of suit Cantlay, who I don't really think has like Open or US Open type of game. He's got the ball striking for certain, but I think that the difficulty of those tracks, and not to say that Bethpage Black isn't difficult. It's got a fucking sign that says it's difficult. But the way they set up the PGAs is just very different than the way they set up the Opens. And I think that, his really deliberate, slow pace, and let's be honest, he's slow, like really slow. And I think he overthinks a lot of things, but I do think that course allows him to sort of really lean on his above average ball striking for the tour. The greens aren't going to be quite as fast, I don't think, as the Open, and the holes are not going to be as deliberately designed to sort of screw with you. And it's also a course that he should have some experience on throughout his professional career. I don't actually know what his record is there, if he's ever played well or not there, but it's a course that's familiar enough to most of these tour players that regardless of how the PGA Tour decides to set it up for the major, I think that he'll have some prior knowledge of it. So early in the season for the last major, I'm going to say Cantlay.
Nice. I like it. Wedge, what are you thinking?
I got to pick him at 1 this year, so I'm going to go Tommy Fleetwood. I think we've seen that he can stick around. We saw him do some damage last year on the Sunday. Was it Sunday last year where he dropped about 10 under on Sunday to make a push? Yeah. I can't even remember whatever that was. Yeah, that was the US Open, wasn't it? Yeah. I know a couple of years ago at not Whistling Straits, that other terrible course that they played in Aaron Hills, which was more of a PGA Championship setup, based on the fact that there was no wind and it wasn't as hard as it should be. He showed some chops there. Obviously the guy's an elite talent. He wouldn't be in the top, what is he, at top 10? He's number 9 right now if he wasn't. I think he's investing a little bit more time here on the PGA Tour, and I think this is the one where he has a good chance. Gets it out of the way and gets it done there on Sunday. Because if there's anything we've seen, I haven't seen him really like fall apart on a Sunday. I think it's kind of more putting himself in position to do some damage on a Sunday. That is what he needs to do. So he works on that. He's been married for a year now, and all that stuff is out of the way, and he's going to be good to go. And I think he's going to take this one down.
Is he still going to do you think he's still going to play up the homeless look?
That's a good question. If I was worth that much money, I'd play homeless as much as I could too. I mean, why not?
Fair point.
I like it.
Matt,
okay.
Finau?
I mean, I'll have the bet in for sure. But like my cop out answer is Justin Thomas. But like for betting value, I know this is going to come as a shock as well as fee now, but I'm actually going to say maybe my boy Gary gets it done here.
Oh, I like it. I like
Gary
it.
Woodland.
That'd be the one.
Okay.
Why are you making faces?
It's just my face.
If you if you believe in course history, James, he finished 4th here at the Barclays, so he has some familiarity and success on this course.
Did you just utilize the thing that you actively fight against to justify your pick?
So this is why you should believe it. I believe it because Gary is a god among men.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't using course history to justify your point, given that you actively railed against course history.
You were just asking about Cantlay now, but I have nothing in my database. But then I was like, you know what? Let me look and see if Woodland has any professional rounds here, and he did. So that's all. Just throwing it out there for the people. If you want to believe in it, you're more than welcome to, and if you do, then there's a little tidbit for you. All right.
Nice. Okay. Gary Woodland, FTW.
60-1. Seems like pretty good value regardless. So hopefully that works out. Let's see where else I can punt some money off. Oh, speaking of which, I'm going to start off with this one. So we got the US Open at Pebble Beach this year, and my guy Peter Uihlein is going to take it down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's some betting value. What is he, like 1,000 to 1?
That's hurtful. That was just
not mean. Really. I mean, is he qualified for the US Open?
Yeah, why not? I don't know. He's plus 17,000 right now, so that's pretty good odds.
And you thought the 1,000 was hurtful?
No, that's my guy. I'm telling you,
what are his
gonna
odds?
Win twice.
What are his odds to play in it?
Oh well, guys, I don't understand why this is like turning on me right now. Like,
I like
we were
it.
friends.
I like it though. I mean, that's aggressive. I can't deny that.
Now I'm looking up if he's even
so I have a guy for this one, and it's the guy I mentioned earlier as my surprise. I think this is the one that Xander has a real shot at.
That's fair.
Let's see.
Whatever.
Go boring with Xander.
Well, I mean, what are his odds?
He's actually he has real good value. Actually, he's plus 6,600. So I'm putting a couple shekels on that as well. Yeah, I'm gonna be out of money by the end of this show.
Shocking.
Don't worry, it's all good. I got my free play bonus.
Just
wait, real quick.
These are future investments. Consider them future investments.
Exactly. Yeah. Side note: if you don't have my bookie, go get on my bookie and bet whatever you want on the Lions game this week, because they're literally paying you back if you get it wrong.
Oh, interesting.
If you bet on the spread, up to $250, which is just an insane promotion. I don't even know how they can do that. Yeah. So
really, and the Lions. Who are the? Did you say the Lions game?
The Lions game. If you bet on the spread,
who are they playing? The Skins.
The Bears.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, he's that's a pretty good number, I would say, for him.
Well, that's not bad. That's not bad. I like that. I didn't realize Peter Uihlein was ranked so high. To be 100% honest with you. In the OWGR, isn't he? Where is he?
Yeah, 75th.
75th. Yeah, I didn't realize that he was in that top 100. And that's impressive. This might be like the biggest, lamest homer pick that I could possibly think of. But would there be a better place for Tiger to win his? Tiger to win his major.
No, there wouldn't. And like Tiger's the obvious one for this course and this setup. And like I can't even imagine how highly owned he's going to be for DFS. I can't imagine like what his odds are going to be bet down to by the time we get to this, because I'm sure they're already not good.
He's 9-1 right now.
Yeah, and that number's probably 7-1 by the time we get there, easily. If not lower.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, but no, I fully agree with you. As do the markets apparently.
Yeah, the Tiger market has always been, as we know, driven down a lot that probably shouldn't be. But yeah, I'm not, that's kind of the cheap way out to go Tiger. I do think he would be my pick here. But if I got to go completely off the wall, or not off the wall, but if I got to go a backup there, I'd go Adam Scott. He's not really shown. We didn't really hear much from Adam Scott last year, and then the old PGA Championship rolled around. He was right there until he pulled an Adam Scott right towards the end, and Brooks closed it out. But I think it would be an interesting. Maybe Scott brings back what's his name, Stevie and Tiger in the final group, except staring at each other down at that. For some fun. My backup there might be a little Adam Scott. If he can pull it together this year, I don't think he's fallen off the planet that far. His game should carry into his later years. I don't see age catching up with Adam Scott. I think that last year was just an off year. Maybe he pulls it back together a little bit this year.
Yeah, he's good value too, 50 to 1, decent. So
see, that's it.
I'm taking it
from me. All right, good.
For sure.
Good. All right. And the final major of the year this year, huh?
Good old Open Championship. By the way, if you haven't done yourself the favor of looking at this course, Royal Portrush, go look at it because it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just saying. It's one of the pictures that I was looking at the other day it's one of the most visually striking courses I think I've ever seen. So it should make for good viewing, hopefully. Jimmie, who are you thinking for the old Open?
Well, I've got a couple of guys in mind, but really I think I'm going to go way off the board and say that this is the best opportunity that Matt Kuchar has.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah. I think he got he doesn't win. Kuchar never wins. He should have beat Spieth when Spieth cheated. I really and I'm not a huge Kuchar homer or anything. I think he's a great dude and all. I don't even play him all that often in DFS, to be honest.
Well, that's because you don't play cash.
That's fair point. It's fair
Right?
point. I don't play cash. But Kuchar is just that slow and steady guy that you kind of need at an Open style event. Now, of course, if it's dead calm and a little wet and whatever, Bomber will have it. But I think if it plays like an Open plays, you look further down the board than maybe your top 5-10 guys that we all sort of kind of gather around. And I think that Kuchar is the type of person that can get it done there. Realistically speaking, and probably will have decent betting value.
66 to 1 right now.
There you go. So if it's not him, So if it's not him, if it's not him, my other guy is actually Sergio.
I'm not going to bet on that fuck. But yeah, listen. No, I get it. Yeah. It's not a bad pick. I hate him personally. I don't even want to make money off of his success. So I'm not even going to bet on him. But go ahead.
Fair enough.
It makes sense. I like it.
No, I think Sergio. So one of my surprises, I guess, to kind of go back to, sort of, I had a list of things and we're just running long and rambling, which is way better anyway. But, I think a surprise is Sergio has a really solid year on the PGA Tour. He's already got a win on the European Tour and really should have had 2, except Westwood, what a class fellow. Always love to see Lee Westwood win.
Yes.
Kind of snatch it away from him, just dropping bomb putts. But really, I think Sergio has settled into married #dad life for you, Matt. And probably is going to put himself in some pretty solid positions in the bigger events this year. And I know that Sergio certainly wants an Open. So
I like it. Makes sense. Yeah. Where are you going? Where are you going here, Wedge?
I like that Kuchar call. So I'm gonna piggyback on that one, but I'm going to default to an Aussie here. Since I already used Adam Scott is not winning 2 majors in 1 year. If he does, I claim the only person to ever say Adam Scott will win 2 majors this year. By the way, there's a good clip. I'm gonna go Mark Leishman.
Love it.
I think, we've kind of passed the Mark Leishman's time to win a major. It felt like for about 2-3 years, every time a major came around, it was like, this is the one Mark Leishman's going to win. This is the one Mark Leishman's going to win. The style of golf is what is Mark Leishman's strength. If it's so hard to predict the goddamn Open. You don't know what the weather's going. I don't know what the weather's going to be like there tomorrow, let alone at this time. But assuming that it holds true to form and that it's windy and that it's kind of a tough challenge, I like Leishman here to actually get it done at a major this year. So that's my pick.
I like it. Good value too. I think he's 50-1 right now. By the way, the live over under right now on the Chiefs game is 103. Just
what is the score?
It's 44-47 with 9.5 minutes left in the fourth.
Have mercy.
Wow, that's a lot of defense going on. Oh my God.
Yep. So
does Todd Gurley have a touchdown?
No.
Oh, that's going to sum up a fantastic DFS week for me this week there.
Sorry, my lineup of Hill, Goff, Mahomes, Reynolds, and Robinson is currently in 1,264th place out of 131,000 on FanDuel. So I feel like I'm currently winning.
There you go.
Wow.
That's with the 0 from Denard Robinson, by the way.
I like it. Denard Robinson.
It was between him or Chris Conley. It was between him or Chris Conley, and lo and behold, Chris Conley caught a touchdown.
Yep. All right.
Who's your pick for this tournament, Matt?
Yeah, I was gonna go. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna go with Spieth. I think this is the angry Jordan. We have like the angry Tom Brady narrative all the time. I think Spieth is gonna come out hot fire this year and at least take down a major and maybe have like 3 wins. So he's my guy. I think it's gonna happen. If not, I think this is like a home game for Rory, right?
Yeah, but Rory has never played like really well in the wind.
No, I know. Weather. I'm just saying this is like.
But yes, it is. It's like in his backyard. It's like what last year was for Fleetwood.
Right. Yeah. So that's my.
I like that. I like that. Biggest surprise this year, I think, is Spieth. Kind of, I think he bounces back this year. You can't go. He's got to find the happy medium of the putting. You can't be as great as he was when he came out, and you can't be as terrible as he was last year. Right. If he can find a happy medium there, he's still. I think he's still a top 10 player on this world. Obviously, in the OWGR, I think he still can. He can push that top 10 by the end of the year. So yeah. I like that. I like that call.
For sure.
For our fourth man missing tonight, full disclosure, Mr. Amico was not able to make it onto this podcast. But he did want it to be known that the Bryson Goat DeChambeau was taken down a major, but he didn't specify which one. So if we had to pontificate as to which major Bryson might win, what would the votes be? What do you think, Wedge? If you had to pick a major for Bryson to take down this year?
I think if it's going to be any of them, it would be I want to say I'm torn between the PGA and the US Open.
I agree.
I can't pin it down, but that would be between those two. Matt?
Yeah, I could see the Open this year. I like it.
You know what though? I agree just on the surface.
Tiger's winning, but like in theory.
No, so like on the surface, I agree that those are the two that I would naturally be drawn to for Bryson to win. But if we all remember, the first tournament Bryson played as an amateur when he wowed us all was the 4th at the Masters.
That's true.
And it's, because the course never changes, you got nothing to do but study it. And then we know the kid studies. He's probably got a computer simulation. He's probably played the Masters course literally like 1,000 times in his basement. So I guess if I had to pick one, I would say it'd probably be the Masters.
I like that's an interesting point. Yeah, he played quite well. It wasn't Friday afternoon where I think he shot one off the trees off of 18. He was up near the top there and kind of just fell apart on that 18th, but pulled it together the last couple of days. So yeah, I mean he was a hole away there from, I think, really kind of competing as was that his first tournament?
He was an amateur because he went pro the next week at the RBC Heritage.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I mean he did some damage there and showed some chops there. So I like that. I like that take on that one.
For what it's worth, too, each major, like in order, his odds keep going up. So the betting markets think that his best shot is Augusta also. So
interesting.
There you go. And he's 40-1 for the Open Championship. So that's like, I think, pretty decent value right now as well. Even if you don't think he can, like 40-1 seems like a kind of long number for him, but all right, let's skip the FedEx Cup champ because nobody gives a shit about the FedEx Cup.
100% agree. Plus, they're changing the whole format next year. We couldn't even possibly figure out.
Yeah,
the last
we couldn't
one.
even know. Yes,
well, we don't even know. Like with this one, they're gonna have you have to start 30 places behind, and then you have to. There's a drag race in the middle of the two events or something. No. There's a foot race to the bar.
No, I'm firmly in the minority in this. I understand that, but there is going to be nothing better than Twitter heading into the Tour Championship with everybody complaining about this. It's going to make me so goddamn happy. Like I can't you how excited I am that we have a golfer with a head start. Like it's glorious. There's nothing better. There's nothing better because you know what's going to happen? All these guys that are behind are going to play like we wished they would play, and it's going to be the best fucking golf of the year. It is because they're going to have to go for birdies. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait. I'm excited.
All right.
So since we're skipping that section,
so let's go player of the year. Just whoever. Try not to make it like super whatever. Like let's go like dark horse. We know it's probably going to be like one of the top like 5 or 6 guys, but let's go dark horse like definitely outside the top 10.
Okay, so from day down.
Sure.
Okay.
What do you got, James?
I guess I'm going to go with X.
Nice.
I mean, he's number 12 right now, but I mean, if I think he wins a major, I think he probably wins something else, and gets himself player of the year. I think he's the kind of guy that can do it. I mean, to get player of the year, like you have to put together a really strong season and some really solid performances, and almost assuredly have to win a major in another event to do so. So, like I would say, like of the golfers right below that, there's maybe only like 2 others. I mean, Tiger's obviously in the conversation because he's there, but he's not. I wouldn't consider Tiger a dark horse.
Right.
So, I guess I'll have to say Xander, and then knowing full well that there's 2 or 3 others that you guys can pick that I think make a ton of sense as well.
Wedge.
Well, based on the fact that we are kind of in agreement that in order to win player of the year, you're going to have to win at least one major. But we're going outside of the top 10. Therefore, Tommy Fleetwood has been eliminated from my thing. I don't want to say Tiger. I could say Adam Scott, but I don't think he's winning 2 majors this year. So at this point, I would I would pin it down probably between. Maybe I go. It's between. I'm gonna say. Oh God, this is tough. All right. Well, since I didn't say Spieth was gonna win a major, I'm gonna say Finau. I think Finau comes down it. I know, man. Like and my second
all over my brand.
So I gotta go. I'll give you to him. So I'm gonna go. Finau, Spieth, and then Adam Scott.
Nice. I like that you're firmly planting the flag on Adam Scott right now, because when this happens, I'm going to be like, thank God he told me that. And I bet on all these, like, I bet Adam Scott to win every major this year.
Interesting.
When he misses every cut because he misses 4-foot putts, you'll be like, God damn it.
I was just going to say, just don't watch him putt.
Yes.
Just change the channel or something to protect your sanity.
Yeah. It's like when Blake Bortles used to be rosterable, like you just knew you couldn't watch, like, but it would be fine. Now you can't watch and it won't be fine. But that's a discussion for another day. Yeah, I think that that Finau is in that conversation, especially if he gets a major. I know we joke, like, he's been so damn close. Like I think the Ryder Cup was a really good experience for him, and I think that could sort of like springboard him into closing some tournaments out this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if he won a couple, because we obviously know he has all the talent in the world, and if he can keep his short game in check, then we know he can drive with the best of them. So I'll go Finau, to the surprise of exactly 0 people.
Yeah. I think the obvious one is Spieth, outside the top 10 to reclaim Player of the Year. I think he's the obvious pick, and probably the most logical.
Yeah.
Even with Tiger there, I think
there's no
Spieth
logic on bogey free, Jimmy. Come on.
Well, I mean, you know, I am bound. I am bound by the rules of logic, my friend. No, I think, you know, like if you're having to bet on who's going to be Player of the Year and you're going to get good odds based on world golf rankings, Spieth would be the one. Obviously, that's not how it works, but yeah, I think that's the most logical pick. But really, Finau, I think, has as good a shot as anybody. He really did up his game last year, and I didn't cash in on it nearly enough, to be honest. So, yeah,
I like it. All right, fellas. Well, thanks for
Wait a minute. We can't quite end yet. We literally, none of us talked about Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, or Rory at all. In all of these things.
Rory for a second.
Yeah, there's a course that they're playing that's near his home.
It's near his home.
Yeah. Well, and he's not even living there anymore, because he's going to be on the PGA Tour this year. He's giving up his Euro card, so it's not even a home game anymore. He gave up his home.
So I guess maybe my question is, we know where Brooks is at. Brooks is crushing the world right now. Got all the confidence in the world. Apparently, he and Dustin Johnson got into a scuttle of some sort. But does DJ get his act together this year and sort of reclaim some things? And does Rory, sort of post marriage, now that he's like a full blown adult, I guess, what, any thoughts just before we sign off, since we literally didn't talk about the number 2 or number 7 ranked golfer in the world on this entire podcast?
I mean, that's like firmly on brand for me. Like I never play or root for Brooks. I do play Rory a fair bit. So that was one where I was sort of like, I was going back and forth with putting him in for like maybe the US Open, but I just wanted to drop a Peter Uihlein bomb just in case like it ends up happening.
I like it.
But yeah, I mean, I think obviously Brooks has like the best shot out of those 3 to do anything interesting. I think that DJ is sort of not like a steep decline, but like I think it's a slow burn sort of out of like the dominating, 2 years ago where he won like 5 events in a row or whatever the hell it was. Like that, those days are long gone. I think DJ's just coming back to like a normal, like solid top 10 golfer, like, which is nothing wrong with that, right? Like that's great. Yeah. You can make millions and millions of dollars and has, a beautiful wife and all the other goodness. So
they're not even married.
Or whatever, you know what I mean?
I know. No, I actually thought they were married as well. I found out that they're not married.
Well, there you go. Now my whole vision of this is ruined, because that was my whole brand, that I was hoping that they were married, like happy marriage. He's content in his life. So now they're not even married. So I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's see. It's interesting to note that DJ's career high for wins on a tour in a year is 4. He did it in 2017. 2018, he won 3 times. The previous year in 2016, he won 3 times. Those are his 3 best years. Now, is DJ going to, like he was 2-3 years ago, where it was like if DJ's playing, he's top 10ing? I'm not sure. But I think DJ's going to win a couple more times on tour this year. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think picking DJ in any of this stuff would be way too subdued for what we're doing this evening. You kind of go out on a limb. If DJ's in every one of these majors, it would not shock me. As far as Rory goes, I still think Rory is an elite talent. I mean, obviously, he's number 7 in the world. It's not like the guy's a bum. He's only had, 1 win on tour in the last 2 years. After coming out hot fire for the previous couple of years. I think Rory, maybe oh shit, maybe he dedicates himself. I thought I pulled my headset out. He dedicates himself a little bit more to the PGA Tour. I know Rory is kind of a man of the people in the sense that he plays here and he plays in this, and maybe he's just spread himself a little too thin. He comes over here, he comes and plays on tour here, and if you want to have a fun DFS ride, what you do is you just take Rory every single week and you buy him 100% in GPPs, because one of those weeks Rory is going to do things that are just going to be like, holy Jesus, this guy's really good.
What is your definition of fun?
Well, my definition of fun is when I'm repping about 20% of my weekly spend on GPPs. I don't mind spending every last dollar on one guy every week, because I know it's really just kind of like to capitalize on my upside. But no, I think it's funny. The thing that shocks me about Rory the most is that he won 1 event last year, and I'm pretty sure he gained like 37 strokes putting that week.
Yeah,
which
is
a bomber. Yeah, which is the most amazing thing, because outside of that, he putted like absolute trash last year.
Yeah, and that was if I recall correctly, it was a putter he literally put in his bag like the day before.
Yeah, I mean, like that just goes to show you that anything can happen with these guys. Put it together, if he goes a couple weeks and doesn't miss any 5-footers, next thing you know, his confidence grows, and there we are talking Rory challenging for another PGA championship. I mean, I think both these guys are still elite talents. That's probably why we didn't touch on him, because it wouldn't be very hot take if we mentioned Rory and DJ.
If I had to pick a major for DJ to win, it's the Open, by the way.
That's always been my one and done DJ pick every year. It's never quite worked out, but I like that.
So, all right. Sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to hijack your wrap up. I just felt like we didn't mention them.
I just jacked that up by about 10 minutes.
No worries at all. It's important, because people would listen and at me later and be like, what do you mean? You guys didn't even talk about DJ or Brooks or whatever. So it's fair. We don't need all the Twitter people coming out. I'm already fending enough off with the course history thing. I don't need any more problems.
I got your back on
in the Twitter streets. I don't need any more problems.
The streets be rough, homie.
Well, thank you both for making the time to hop on. I know we talked about doing some sort of show a while ago, and we finally figured it out. And I think this was fun. So thanks again. As always, you can follow Jimmie on Twitter at DFS Jimmie. You can follow Wedge at Wedge2424, me at Matt Jones TFR. Make sure you're following along with whatever other things we're doing, whether it's, my articles or Jimmie's pod or whatever Wedge is doing these days.
Hot takes on odd things.
Reinventing the trucking industry.
Yes.
There you go. All right, boys. It's been real.
All right.
Talk soon.